Hey everybody, Leah Klett here with the Christian Post, and my guests today are Levi and Jennie Lusko. They lead Fresh Life Church in Montana. They are parents, they are authors, they're podcasters, and they recently released a new book titled The Marriage Devotional, 52 Days to Strengthen the Soul of Your Marriage. We're talking about your new devotional, The Marriage Devotional, and one line that you guys write that I really loved is that great marriages are made and not born. So I feel like this comes from some experience for you guys. So I want to hear about why you wrote this book and sort of how it came to be.
That's a good question. It,
Yeah.
it honestly feels like God just was kind of leading us into it. And I think we also enjoy reading devotionals
Period. Yeah.
together, separate. We never actually read them, sit down and read them together, but
But
we
we'll
will be on
both
the
be in
same
it and be able to
page.
discuss.
Yeah. But it's been such a strengthening thing for our marriage. And it'll be 19 years this year that we've been married. And not that we have all the answers, but we just have learned a lot of things, probably the hard way, mostly. But we just were excited to share some of those things and really point to God's word and how it really does set the pace for our lives, for our relationships, for our
Yeah.
marriages.
And it came really honestly out of a conviction that we have that strong marriages and strong homes are what the world needs. Psalm 128 says that if the man that fears the Lord will serve his wife, she'll be fruitful. The kids can be like olive plants around the table. Thus shall everything the man does be blessed. He shall see the good of Jerusalem all his days and peace upon Israel. So if we reverse engineer that, and I want peace in my country, I want my city to be touched, I want the world to be changed. Well, it starts in our souls with Jesus, and then it spreads to our marriage bed, and then our table, which is where life happens around. We play games, we eat, we cry, we do school, we host sinners and saints alike, and I think that can transform the world, because as goes the marriage, so goes the civilization. And so I think we both have a conviction that marriage is worth fighting for, that it's not something that's like, oh, it is what it is. It's something we can grow in. It's a grace, it's a muscle, it's an art. And I wouldn't expect my first time cooking I would make a tremendous meal, nor would I think our first, when we first get married, we're going to be, masters at it. It's something we have to give ourselves to, that our progress may be evident to all. And Jenny and I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly in 19 years. We both are breaking, by Jesus's power, chains of divorce that come to us on both sides of our family. And we're watching that new legacy opened up for our kids. And we're excited about it. We want to fight for other people's marriages too.
I think the statistics are the divorce rate is 50% in both the world and in the church. What do you think is at the root cause of this, and how can we break these statistics?
From what I understand, and of course, there's lots of studies for everything, but from what I understand, that sampling gets much smaller if you account for those who are in small groups, who read the Bible daily, who are serving on team. I would love to see a study done, because I don't see people who are plugged into small groups, serving on team, giving of their financial resources, not just Christian, but attending their church, reading the Bible together. I don't think you're going to see the same amount of divorce. And I think that study can be misleading, because of those who claim Christian when they're checking a box on a census or whatever, maybe 50%. But I really think that when you put into practice what Jesus said, that if you build your house on the rock, storms come, but you will still be standing. I think that's true. And, statistically speaking, our marriage shouldn't still be standing because we endured the death of a child, which sounds a death knell for marriage. But by God's grace, we're not only married, we're happily married, like more so than ever. And so I do think that if you put into practice some key things, and that's really, our marriage devotional is not opinions, it's not Levi and Jennie's thoughts, it's scripture and how to put these things into practice, hopefully within the walls of a local church. And then if you do these things, you will not be barren, you'll be fruitful. I really do believe that.
I love that. I do think it's interesting. You guys are in not a very Christian area in the South. It's that very cultural Christianity where sort of everybody's a Christian. It's uncommon if you're not. So that is an interesting point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the statistics are in Montana per se, but I do know there does tend to be within America, at least historically speaking, kind of a frame of reference, at least,
Yeah.
So I do think a lot of people sort of might still see themselves as Christian, even if they're not really walking with Jesus on a day-to-day basis, right?
But I think with that said, I think that, I mean, we have close friends who were very much a part of church, but chose not the right way in their marriage and
My
in
point is, though, it's not
relationships.
half. I
Right,
wouldn't
right, right,
say we
right.
see half of the people in our church ending in divorce.
Right. But I
Yeah.
was just gonna say, like, I think the key is, like you said earlier, our soul, like us having responsibility over our own soul and our own relationship with the Lord.
Mhm.
Because you see that in, yes, in the world and seemingly also in the church. But I think that like what our hope is that this would really build the foundation of relationship with Jesus even stronger because
Yeah, to
that's where
give
it
people hope that
starts.
no matter where they're at in their
Yeah.
marriage, or even, I mean, we have watched people who, by all rights, their marriage should have ended in divorce,
Yeah.
but even if they biblically had grounds for it, but
Mm.
they also chose to see that as the gospel opening them up to having grounds for forgiveness too. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Samson's hair began to grow again, which shows there's hope for anybody. That cat messed him up self up pretty royally, and we see David picking himself up post adultery and with consequences still a factor, walking in God's
Yeah.
restoration. And I think that's what we want to point people to, not perfect marriages, but improving marriages, which is all God wants for any of us.
So
Yeah.
good.
That is good. So my husband and I have 3 kids. The oldest is 4, the youngest is 4 months.
So
And
you are in it with
we
a
Wow.
are in
capital
the
I.
thick of it. Yes.
Wow.
What are some practical ways that couples can prioritize each other when they have children? Because it is so hard to lose sight of that.
It is so true because your whole world changes when you bring in this little baby, and you really do have to fight to keep looking at each other and to keep like preferring each other. And even in the midst of sleeplessness or when you're nursing, your body is like you're just feel like a cow. Sometimes you're just
That is
literally just
true.
producing milk for somebody else. And but you have to fight to have that mentality. And I think even just the understanding for the husband and the wife, like this is a hard season, but we're gonna fight to even have just a morning, a morning to have coffee and just talk, or try to make those date nights happen, which I know in different seasons of life, those moments can even just be hard to find or make time for. But even just I feel like even in those moments when like you're so exhausted and it's like you want some intimacy to happen, but you're so tired and you're like, I want to, but I need
Rain
to go
check.
to
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
Brain check. I think those kind of things where you're just communicating that you love and you appreciate and you prefer, but your body is
Run down.
run down.
Yeah, I think too, we like to say that language matters. How we talk does matter. We have life and death in the power of the tongue. And one thing we tell engaged couples, newly married couples is don't use the language when you want to have a kid that we're going to start a family. Your
Ooh,
family began at the altar when you said I do.
that's
If
good.
this child has the power to create a family now, them coming, does that mean when you're an empty nesters, you're no longer a family? Like I think
It's good.
start to see that marriage as the family, and then you're going to add members in, and they're going to be there as a welcome part of the family, but not the center of the family. That the
Mhm.
marriage comes first, because sadly we've all seen the anecdotes of people whose the child was at the absolute center, the nucleus of the home, and then the empty nest realized these two strangers looked up to each other and saw they hadn't had a meaningful connection since the child was born.
Mhm.
So I think it's like setting the pace, and one small tangible thing you can do is and then this is a hot take, but not have the child sleep in bed. Now, if they have a nightmare, they come in for a little bit, great, comfort them. But then the goal is to get them back to their bed. Why? Because there should be things happening in that bed that would traumatize that child for life should they see happening, right? And
Right.
and if you fight for that and draw that line, you're not going to develop insecurity in the kid. Our friend Sissy Goff, who's a child psychologist, he says actually the way to put insecurity in a child is make them feel like they're the center of the home. That's
Mhm.
going to give them insecurity because that's too much weight for a child. It's too much power for a child. So for them to know, hey, look, you're lovingly in the back seat, and mom and dad, we
In the
want to
car
have
seat.
a
Safe.
in a car seat, buckled in with a 5-point harness and a latch system built, right? But you're a welcome part of this family, but it doesn't revolve around you, it revolves around Jesus, and then our marriage comes first, and yeah, you come next. And that's going to actually give them a confidence that God has that for them one day. And so how many times Jenny and I went on date nights when our kids were very young, and our oldest is 17, our youngest is 5. But when all of them were 2 and 3, they went through a phase where they would be holding onto our pant legs all the way out the door. Why are we going this? We love you. You hate me. Why are you leaving? We're doing this because we love you. We're doing this because we love each other. And they get over it. And a lot of parents cave and buckle down there and can't get through that divide. But we understand. We had one of our children die on a date night. So resuming dates was challenging. We're speaking out of the pain of experience. For a while, we couldn't do nights, so we did mornings, like Jenny said. But we're so thankful we buckled down and fought for it. We could have said, oh no, what if something happened to one of our other kids while we're on this date? But we chose to honor God, and as an act of spiritual worship, prioritize our marriage, and we're reaping the rewards of it all these years later.
What advice would you give to a couple who may have experienced tremendous loss like you guys have, or have a special needs child, or are just dealing with all these difficult things that life throws at them? What encouragement would you give them?
Well, I would say that what God allows in your life, He will grace you for. And I just think like we maybe going into getting married or having a family starting to have kids, where you might think that life will be a certain way, like, oh, this is how it's going to be, like this is how my kids are going to be, we're going to have 3 kids, and even some of my daughters have names for their kids already. I'm like, how, why? But I think we just kind of have this picture of what it's going to look like, and so often what actually happens is not that expectation that's in our hearts and our minds. And so I think just remembering that um that God has us, first of all, but He has a plan in the midst of the things, the struggles, the pain, the trouble that we walk through, and that He allows in our lives. And that if He's allowing us to walk through it, He's going to give us the strength. He's going to give us the courage. He's going to give us the wisdom that we need to walk forward. So I think the biggest thing is just holding desperately on to Jesus and not letting go, because He's the only one who's going to give us hope and peace and purpose and power as we walk through the unimaginable, and as we walk through the trouble that we never thought could or would come into our lives. And for some people, it is that daily. I mean, I just imagine a parent with special needs child, and just the longevity of that. And that sounds so tiring to me, because it's literally a daily, and however long that will last up until the child's grown up and everything. It's just like, but I feel like God gives us what we need, the long obedience in the same direction, each step, not even looking at everything, but just, Lord, give me what I need today, and the strength I need today, and the fresh just heart and vision and passion today. And I think that that's honestly what God calls us to, and how He wants us to live, is just that desperation for Him every day, every moment, every second, no matter what we are facing, whether traumatic or not.
Yeah, and I would just add, that's such a beautiful response. Just be patient with yourself. Yes, there's going to come a day when you're going to know, even as you're known. So the end of Job, he knows why it all happened, or he understands that God wasn't mad at him and God had a plan for it all. But be patient with yourself, because you're not there yet. So give yourself the grace to be angry. It's okay to feel confused. And that's not a betrayal of God, the confusion. Press into Him. He's present with you. And for whatever reason, God saw fit to entrust your child to you. It wasn't haphazard or willy-nilly or an accidental lottery. He entrusted it to you. And He said in Matthew 5, blessed are the brokenhearted. So there's some blessing in it, even if you don't see it yet. So we would have our hat off to you, because you're a fellow sufferer, and we would encourage you in the waiting, and in God filling those gaps in with His grace.
That's a great answer. Now, have you guys had times in your own marriage where you've had to sort of step back and reevaluate and face some hard truths? And if so, how did you get through that?
With professional help. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
And with the church around us.
Yeah, we're big fans of counseling, and the thing is I have a counselor, Jenny has one. We get marriage counseling together as well. Uh, Roger Federer, throughout his entire career, retained not one, but multiple coaches. He's the best to ever play the game. Why would he need coaching? Because even Roger Federer knows he will never be as good without other eyes on his life. So for us, we don't want to be, dinking around like we're pickleball amateur hour pickleball players in our marriage. We want to hit the higher level. We want, like Paul said, to get gold, not silver. So why would we not enlist help? So we, through counseling, have, and of course, many other wise counselors in our lives that are not professional counselors, but are just the kind of friends that you want around you, and the marriages that you want around you, because you're the aggregate of your 5 closest friends financially and in every other way. So why would we not pick marriages to mentor ourselves from a distance, even watching, that are doing better than we are, so we could strive for that example? So that would be some of the ways that we've punched through difficult ceilings and transitions, where we feel like, man, we're just at an impasse here. We need help. We need help to get to that next level.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it can take longer because you don't realize the help that you have, or the help you need to ask for. And I think 2020 was one of those years for us where we both were just realizing, like, oh, okay, for me personally, like hormonal things. Okay, didn't realize that this was actually something that I can like figure out and find help in. And so anyways, I think those kind of things where you might think that, oh, this is all like, we just have to read the Bible more. We just have to, which is always a good idea. But there are some problems that you really just need the tools from a therapist or a counselor to help you
Medicine.
see
Yep.
differently, or medicine or whatever. It's like just taking that help.
We're both wearing
so
contact
helpful.
lenses, and that's not a lack of faith in our vision. That's just the reality of our biology. And so I think too, leaning into all of that.
I love that. Are you guys seeing a positive shift in the church when it comes to accepting counseling and accepting medicine when it's needed? Because I know that
I mean,
wasn't always the case.
I think so. I think we
Totally.
both grew up in a frame of reference where that was sort of frowned upon, and I think there was sort of this mentality of, you got to just pray, and the psychology is the witchcraft of the evil one. Pretty soon you'll be doing horoscopes and reading the stars for your future fortune cookie numbers, right? Lottery numbers. From the fortune cookie. But I think I think to realize that that psychology and faith can and do coexist, and all the principles that are true in psychology are all God's truth. All truth is God's truth. So if there's something true in it, just because there's other things that can be wrong, doesn't mean that the truth isn't true. And so I think, if you have a psychologist who's Christian, who understands the frame of reference of the Bible and is processing through that lens, that's powerful. And we do see, with the churches we're following, a cultural shift when it comes to the awareness of the power of it, and that it's not some sort of divination thing. I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
So, guys, I know we're almost out of time, but ultimately, what is your hope for this marriage devotional? And I'm going to make it a 2-part question. What is your advice for young couples who are just entering into a marriage?
Ooh, good.
Ooh, well, we hope that this marriage devotional is encouraging, like Levi said at the beginning, like the change we want to see in the world, the peace that we want to see, the hope, the change, knowing that it starts with us. It starts with the strength of our marriage, the strength of our family, the strength of our table. And so our hope is that this would just encourage couples to go deeper. What I love is at the end of each chapter, there's questions and kind of prompts to kind of go deeper. There's date night ideas, conversation starters. And some of the feedback we've got already is that even we had this older couple who've been married for 50 or 60 years who said, we love these questions because we have so much to talk about and remember.
Yeah, you
and
do end up,
reminisce
after the appetizers come and you're waiting for the entrees, kind of sometimes, getting plateaued in your marriage, where you kind of sit there like, well, how was your day? Oh, that's good. How you doing? Good. How you doing? So this will shake it up. I mean, just to pick one at random, you're going to find stuff like, since we've been married, one thing I've noticed or learned about myself regarding the way I handle money is blank.
Oh,
Okay, now we got something to talk about while we eat the awesome blossom, and then when we look at our bank statements, knowing our treasure goes where our hearts are, it seems to me our hearts are going to blank. It's like, dang, If you look
Very
at Wells
not hard
Fargo
shoes.
or the Bank of America statement and you can't see, all you see is Nordstrom and Amazon, and there's not your church or mission field, how can you say your heart's in heaven, right? So I think these are going to really, we labored over these. These are not just random little thoughts. The prayers we put in here, the bring it home applications. If people will actually do this and go through these verses, we have thousands of scriptures referenced in this thing.
Yeah.
It's going to bring you to scripture. It's going to bring you to each other. It's going to bring out hard conversations, make you laugh, give you date night ideas. So I think people are going to use this for, and are using it for, a gift for that newly engaged couple in their life, for the couple that's been married 60 years, or anywhere in between. So that's
Yeah.
our hope for it.
Yeah. And then I think for either a newly engaged couple or a newly married couple, I guess I would just say, well, if you're newly engaged, you better be getting some premarital counseling.
Yeah, that's good.
Financial Peace University. We did that maybe 3 years into marriage, and it would have been awesome to go through that earlier on. But just getting those, like Levi said earlier, those eyes on your life, having those couples who you just see their marriage as like, that's amazing, in your church, in your community, I think is so important to be the church, to be serving and giving and receiving and being under authority and all the things. I think you just learn so much. I mean, it's just growing in a grove, growing in a forest of trees is so powerful, as you have younger people, older people, wise people, learning to be wise people, children. Like, it's just, you just have this grove around you. And I think that is so key to growth.
And I just would add, have fun. Marriage is a gift.
Yeah.
It's not just this heavy weight, like, oh, my marriage, like it's some heavy, what do we call it? A ball and chain. Language is powerful. Don't speak of it that way. Marriage is a gift. It's been given from God to man to enrich our lives and to help us become who we're meant to be and to change the world. So speak of it carefully and enjoy it fully.